for example, when I was living in that forest, that oak forest for the 2.5, 3 years, I was in predominantly complete silence to a degree where my speech had become actually pretty bad. Like I wasn't speaking to anyone. And and what's interesting to me, this is my own observation. I have no clue if there's any scientific study or link or anything. I think that puts you in a meditative state. When you do carpentry in complete silence and you're doing it not for a job or a stress, but you're doing it for your own joy, it is exceptionally meditative and you just fly into this zone. And then slowly you just merge with nature in such a way that it's just quite fascinating, whether you're planting a garden, whether you're doing these very important nature related tasks, but you're in silence with nature. It puts you in a meditative state that's absolutely so much, I would say, so much higher than if you sit and attempt to meditate or even yoga. uh it's just something completely different, and it gave me very similar experiences that I hear when people who do these what's your substances
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
plans. They often report what their experiences are, and not the crazy ones, like ayahuasca. No, never felt that in natural sense, because I also don't recognize and understand why people find that interesting to do. All they talk about is how much they throw up. I'm like, gross. Why would you do that to yourself? But but you know what I'm saying? It just puts you in this state, and it is phenomenal. When they describe it, it sounds like I've already experienced this so much in just being in meditative states and being in silence, without even taking anything or trying anything.
Yeah, I mean, there are moments where the best time for me is morning. I usually typically wake up. In the wintertime, I'm waking up before the sun. In the summertime, it's typically the sun's waking me up because it's coming up so early. But um, uh, yeah, right in that moment, there are times where I've never felt more powerful. I've never felt more significant. I've never felt those things just in like everyday life, but like in that moment of meditation and just like seeing, and a lot of it does have to do with seeing past a lot of the illusion that's being given to us in our time. It's like when you see around it, because seeing the illusion or seeing like the veil, so to speak, is terrifying, and it's very dark. It's very negative feeling, but the fact of being able to see around it or see through it uh, gives you great authority and power, I think. And so I only experienced that in meditation. And there are things that come to me in meditation that I'm like, I just don't know where this stuff comes from. And I'm sure there are some cultural influences in my life. Like I use a lot of Christian terminology even in my meditation because that's that's what I grew up on. So but I branched out a lot. So there's a lot of things that I find in meditation now, but whenever I'm presenting these ideas, a lot of times they do come through like the Christianity platform. And the reason why is because I live in America and everyone here is, most everyone is Christian based, especially in the South or in the vast majority of the United States. Um,
Yeah.
but it is nice when you speak to somebody who understands like Buddhist terminology, because I think sometimes the Buddhist terminology fits a bit better to the spiritual side of things. But there is, and some people are afraid of that, like making that connection, like, oh, Christianity's like Buddhism or like this religion, or oh no, now
It's as
you're,
if you're knocking it or something,
yeah, now you're a heretic,
discrediting
and
it.
yeah, right, exactly, like, oh yeah, you're diminishing Christianity by doing something like that. And but I think what we're that what the we're really living in now is the fact that Christianity is different from every other spiritual religion by saying that you have to basically baptism and then salvation, and recognizing that Jesus died and was resurrected, and saying that and acknowledging that he is your savior. I think that is what separates Christianity from all the other things, because something as simple as like Islam doesn't believe in the death and resurrection, so that would separate them outside of Christianity. they can believe Jesus was a great prophet and all these things and a messenger of God. And there are a lot of people that believe that even in the Islamic faith, some of them believe that Muhammad was maybe compromised and misled in some ways, and in some.
Well, yeah, that's how they also split to Shia and Sunni.
Mhm.
Because if you see, like, some Muslims are very secular, like you don't ever see any trouble coming out of you less so from people like I don't want to say Iran is in the country because the country is a dictatorship, but like Persians, very different type of people, Albanians, Bosnians,
But is
like you
the
don't,
Iranian what's their
they're
national
Shia.
religion? Is it?
They're Muslim, but they're Shia Muslims.
All right. For some reason I was still assuming that they might be like Zoroastrian or something.
I think
Um,
they have a fringe minority that still is like that, but I don't know if they're still there really. But for a long while, there was a fringe minority that was still practicing old type of worship, and I think that's where I confused Zoroastrianism with fire worship, because I think actually in Iran there's also fire worshippers, a
mm,
small minority of fire worshippers that I connected thinking it's maybe Zoroastrianism, but there's separate things. But yeah, so if you look at the Islamic nations between the Arab world versus some others, like, I don't know, Uzbekistan and
hmm
Albania, Bosnia, Iran, like they just really aren't the same type of practice. So I think Islam has a potential of being very highly weaponized because the words are very easy to just read. And if you choose to put that in somebody's head, then it's easy to do so. And and that's why there's a woman called Ayan Ayan Hirsi Ali. So she's a Somalian Muslim who escaped. There's a lot that happened to her. She has a book called Nomad, a book called Infidel, and her whole thing is to reform Islam. It's like,
mm,
okay, it's not all bad. Obviously, we see that there's a lot of Muslims who live a very naturally reformed version of Islam. So her thing is it really should be reformed altogether so that this radicalism cannot happen. But either way, let's forget Islam for a second. But if I actually zoom out and look at the religions, Christianity, the New Testament, Jesus' teachings, has a lot more common with other religions like Buddhism, Hinduism than we want to think. But I think what has become significant, like you said, the whole resurrection, or the for me, it's not the resurrection that's interesting. It's the fact that he got persecuted. Because we can see that in today's world. When someone stands up to power, starts questioning power, they get persecuted. They get shut down.
mm,
They're not allowed to speak. So I think that's, to me, if I just zoom out from spirituality and look at just the wisdom of that book, that's what it's teaching me. It's
mm.
teaching me human nature at its best.
Right.
What
So
to
then,
do, what not to do, but then also how these cycles happen, and how, if you stand up to power, which you should, you will be prosecuted, but it's okay because you're standing up for a higher truth.
right. And so I think that's the really important detail worth talking about is that whole resurrection thing.